Hello, and welcome to another session of Living Room Yoga with Marissa. I'm so glad you're here. I can't wait to practice with you today. Today is all about twists and turns. So, we're going to be twisting, we're going to be moving all over our mat. We're going to have some sequencing that might also challenge your brain, not only your body. So, listen carefully to cues and stick with me. Please always remember that this is your practice. So, you have full permission to modify anything you'd like to modify, to make something more difficult. If you're more experienced in your practice or just want to challenge yourself today, you can always do that. It's your practice. So I'm only here to guide you. Follow along as best as you can or you'd like to, and just always, always, always listen to your body. And then, of course, pay attention to your breath. If you find that you're holding your breath or you're short of breath, that is your cue to take a step back, regain control of your breath before you continue your practice. So with those in mind, you can also set an intention for your practice today if you'd like. It can be something very simple, like laughter or joy, or maybe just some more stillness. It can be strength, steady, patience. It can look a lot of different ways. So you decide what that's going to look like for you. And you can kind of just glue that to the front of your mind, center it in your heart, and let it just flow through your practice today. So we're going to start on our backs. So you can go ahead and head to your mat. If you have blocks handy, you may want to have those nearby. Always good to have some blocks. So starting on your back, you have a few options. You can obviously lay however it's comfortable to you. You can put your feet wide and let your knees kind of knock together, or you can bring your feet together and let your knees go wide. And then your arms can just relax out beside you. They can come all the way open, or one of my favorites is allow one hand to come to your belly and one hand to come to your heart. And that way you can feel every inhale and exhale. Go ahead and close your eyes. And start to tune into your breath. You can start to deepen your breath. We'll be here for a moment, so make sure you're comfortable. If you like your legs open, kind of in this butterfly position, but it's a little intense, you can always put a pillow or a block kind of under each knee or each thigh to kind of give you some support. So you're still feeling that hip opening, but it's not quite as intense. So that's a suggestion. But start to come into your breath here. Start to bring your mind inward. If it's wandering or maybe a little overtaxed, a little stressed, just let that melt away for the next 40 minutes. This will be a 40-minute Vinyasa Flow. As you breathe in, notice your belly expanding first. Feeling the breath move up through your rib cage, expanding your chest and your heart. And then on your exhale, feel your heart and chest start to compress, pushing the air out all the way down through your belly as the air swirls up and out of your throat and nose. If Ujjayi breath is part of your practice, you can start to engage that now. If you have no idea what it is and you want to try, all you do, and laying is a perfect time to start trying this when you're in a flat position here, start to gently constrict the back of your throat, almost like you're breathing through a straw. You'll kind of feel the breath move and circle towards the back of your throat as you inhale and exhale. And why would we constrict our breathing, you may ask, while we're moving and exercising? Couple reasons. In yoga, we are connecting our breath to our movement. That is one of the meanings of vinyasa. And so by controlling it and slowing it down a little bit, we're more easily able to do that. A second reason is because it builds heat inside your body. So instead of just kind of sweating on the outside, for lack of a better explanation, it creates the heat from the inside out. Taking a deep exhale through your mouth, such as this, like you're fogging up a window, will actually release heat. So you can kind of keep those in mind and adjust your breathing for the type of practice or whatever you need in the moment. If your knees are open, gently guide your hands towards your thighs and help them lift up. Bringing your knees together, open your arms to a T. You could do palms up or palms down, really, whichever feels better. Bring your knees into your chest and let your knees just fall over to the right. So we're taking our first twist here. If your shoulder comes up, it's okay. Just guide it back towards the floor. Taking our first little twist of practice. Like I said, we'll have a few of these. Bringing your knees back up to center, you can guide them with your hands or start to gently engage your core. Take a few gentle rocks side to side, just little ones, to kind of get your spine straight again. And then let your knees fall all the way over to the left. Maybe even letting your gaze fall to the right if that feels good. These should be very gentle, very relaxing twists. We're not really warm yet. If you'd like to have some music going, you can find one of my Spotify playlists. I have them to different lengths of class, 30, 35, 40, and 50-minute classes. So feel free to rock out to your own jam, or if you need a little suggestion, you can find one of those Spotify playlists and cue it up for class. We'll build with our movements and then slowly calm back down for the ending. Gently bring your knees back to center. Now, we're going to start finding some dynamic movement pretty quickly. So grabbing the back of your thighs, start to rock forward and backwards. Massaging your back if that feels good. If not, you can just rock up and wait. One more rock, come all the way forward onto your hands and knees. You may be at the top of your mat. Feel free to scooch on back. Planting your hands into tabletop position. Inhale into cat or cow stretch. Exhale into cow, rounding your back, pressing into the backs of your shoulders. Inhale to center, curl your toes under. Inhale your hips up and back. We're in our downward facing dog, pressing one heel down and then the other. You're always welcome to find movement here in down dog. Don't feel like it ever has to be a static pose, although sometimes finding stillness can be nice. Gazing at your fingertips, you can tiptoe or step your feet into your hands, coming into forward fold. Relax here for a second. Really let your upper body just waterfall over your legs, releasing your shoulders and your back. On your next inhale, come into a half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach all the way up, coming to standing. Reaching up towards the sky, really lengthen through your fingertips, lengthen through your side body. On your exhale, come down to a chair pose. You may want to leave your hips, your feet wide, even if you're normally a feet together kind of chair person. As you inhale, fill up your lungs. Exhale, sink lower. You can bring your hands to prayer here or keep them reaching high, your preference. Inhale, fill up. Exhale, sink lower and lower and lower until your bottom hits the floor and you're in boat pose. So move through a little bit of core here. So squeeze your belly button into your spine, really lengthen your back, sitting up nice and tall, shine your heart. And by that I mean find extra room in your collarbones instead of rounding like this, finding that extra room. And then you can just stay here. You can hold the backs of your legs. You can gently hold the floor. But if you're feeling good, exhale, lower to a boat position or kind of a banana. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. Inhale up. With your breath, you can speed it up a little bit if that feels good. Go for 5 more. 4, 3, maybe less if you're going slow, that's okay. Good, and relax all the way down to the mat. Bringing your heels towards your bottom. Take a nice deep breath here in through your nose. Open mouth, let it go. Good. Reaching your fingertips towards your heels. Start to press into your heels and lift your hips, coming into a bridge pose. You can kind of rock up underneath your shoulders if you'd like. You can even hold on to the outside of your mat here. I love this. It really helps my shoulders open up. You can make this a baby bridge or a big bridge. Your choice, the level of intensity, how far you want to go. Exhale as you lower all the way down. Bring your knees into your chest and give them a nice squeeze. Okay, we'll start that sequence again. So grabbing onto the back of your legs, start to rock back and forth. Take a few rocks, start to squeeze that belly button into your spine and rock all the way over onto hands and knees, planting your hands, planting your knees. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, tuck under. Inhale, finding a flat back, press your toes into the mat, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Gazing at your fingertips, step or hop your feet into your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up, reaching high. Lots of room through your side body. Exhale into your chair. You can bring your hands to prayer. Inhale, hold. Exhale, lower. Inhale, hold. Exhale, lower, coming onto your sit bone here. Reaching up high, lowering into boat. Inhale, high. Exhale, lower. Inhale, up. And you can start to speed it up if you'd like. Going out and in, out, in. No matter what pace, just keep your breath flowing. It doesn't have to match your movement perfectly here. 3 more, 2, 1. Release all the way down. Bringing your feet close to your bottom. We'll take one nice deep inhale. Open mouth, exhale. Pressing into your heels. Lift your hips up again. It can be small or big. Engaging your glutes here. Everything from your glutes, sending the strength down the back of your thighs. And then pressing deep into your heels, maybe even arching up onto your shoulder blades. Round your spine, come all the way down, bring your knees into your chest. We'll take a little twist here, up and over to the left first. Gazing to your right, 2 deep breaths. On your next inhale, bring your knees into your chest, a few rocks, gentle, side to side, and let your knees fall all the way over to the right. Maybe gaze to your left, 2 deep breaths. And bring your knees back into the center. Few gentle rocks side to side. And then grabbing behind your legs, start to rock up and back again. This time, moving all the way through tabletop, or you can jump back to plank. before you lift up and back into your downward facing dog. Again, finding the center of your mat. It doesn't have to look perfect and graceful every time. In your downward facing dog, really reaching through your arms, sending the energy up your back and out through your tailbone, which is reaching high. And then zip in your rib cage, gently squeezing your belly button into your spine. And then let the energy just flow down your glutes and thighs and calves, off your heels like water droplets back onto your mat. Bringing your toes to touch, float your right leg into the sky, leading with your heel, keeping that back leg, your right leg, super straight and strong. I'll take 3 core planks here. So squeeze your knee towards your nose, float your shoulders over your wrists, and kind of take that cat stretch. Really push away, squeezing into your core. Inhale, heel to the sky. Exhale, bring that knee to your right shoulder, hovering here. And I say shoulder, it can come to your tricep or your elbow or your wrist or wherever it lands. Inhale that to the sky. Exhale as you take that knee underneath to your left elbow, but this time straighten your right leg, planting it on the floor. And if you want, lift up into this kind of star side plank pose. Weights on your right arm. Left arm can come to your left hip or reach up to the sky. Really intense side core work here. Bring your left hand down, squeeze your knee into your chest, and plant it in front of you. Inhale as you lift all the way up into crescent lunge. There's Ryder. That's okay. Michael will grab him. Perfect. Nice deep breath here. You can soften into that back leg, sending your tailbone long. Lower and let your knee just hover above the mat. Your left knee hovers gently and lift back up. Just one time. Feel that strength. Really get your glutes engaged. Open up, warrior 2. Reaching your palms long. We're going to be moving through a sequence here with lots of postures strung together. So if you ever get into one and you're just feeling heavy or out of breath, just lighten the posture by straightening a leg, lowering your arms. Just take a pause and come back in when you're ready. Turning your toes towards the outside corners of your mat, lift up into star pose. So here you can take a second to rotate through your hips, reaching your arms high. Exhale into your goddess squat. Oh my goodness, you may fall off your balance. The key here is to send your knees over your toes. So make sure that your knees are extending over your toes, meaning they're not caving in. So your toes can be pointing any direction as long as your knees are following. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Holding the lower a lot longer than the lift and lower. Inhale up. Exhale, melt back down. Inhale up. Exhale, melt and hold. Now for some balance, you can just hold right here. You can bring your hands down. You can straighten your legs if you need a break. But if you're with me, stay here in your deep lunge. Again, as deep as you'd like. I could certainly go deeper, but I'm choosing not to today. Lift up onto your right toe. So lift your heel up. It may just hover over the mat just a little bit, and that's perfectly fine. You can press your hands, your palms together to really strengthen through your chest and shoulders. Let your heel come back down. Squeezing your belly button in, lift your left heel up. I know your legs are talking to you. We'll get relief in just a moment. Heel down. And if you'd like to try, you can lift both heels up and try for balance there. Being really sensitive to your ankles. If you have weak ankles or if you've had a bad history of strained or sprained ankles, I would recommend only lifting about an inch or two. It keeps a lot more control and strength. The higher up you go, the more you're kind of resting in your ankle bone there. So just do whatever feels good. Lower your heels. Inhale, straighten your legs. Turn your toes in, heels come out Arms go wide and fold over your legs into your Prasarita stretch. Lots of options here in Prasarita. So take whatever variation is just going to serve you today. You can let your hands relax. You can walk them under your legs, really deep in your hamstring stretch. You can walk over to the right and then the left. You will have one more Prasarita. So if you want to take right and left stretch here and then maybe twist on the next one, that's great. Maybe you just stay center and hang. That can feel really great too. Bringing your hands to your hips, give a gentle bend to your knee as you come up. And then for some fun here, cartwheel your hands all the way over to the left foot. So now you're facing the opposite direction on your mat. That's intentional. We're here together. Finding your low lunge, plant your foot back, find your plank. And then you have lots of options. You can go straight to down dog. You can lower to your belly. Or if you're ready, you can take a full chaturanga, upward facing dog. Just listen to your body, choose your variation, and we'll meet in our downward facing dog here. Bring your toes to touch and float your right leg again. So yes, we're on our right leg and we're gonna do the right leg. Again, we're gonna make a full circle. So swing it through, planting it at the front of your mat, which is the back of your mat. Walking your hands forward, come onto that front leg and lift your back leg. Now, my blocks are way back there, but if you have a block handy, you can obviously use a block here. It can feel really good. Hey, if you've got furniture handy, you can use that as well. Now you can stay right here, or if you'd like to open up into your half moon, open your toes, your hips, and your shoulders all to the side of the room. Finding balance here, keeping that maybe a gentle bend in that supporting leg if that feels good. It's up to you. If you really want to play and have some fun with your balance, you can bring your right hand to heart and stay on this right leg. And then slowly unwind, coming back to center. So keep that leg high, but just draw your toes so they're pointing down towards the ground now. And then bending generously into your front leg. Stretch your back leg behind you. Stretch it, stretch it, stretch it, and see if you can float up into your warrior two. Maybe you just surprise yourself with how graceful you can be. Maybe you surprise yourself with how graceful you aren't. And that's okay. There's no judgment. Really nice long warrior two here, making sure your hips are stacked over, your shoulders are stacked over your hips. Good. Now bringing hands to prayer. Turn your toes in, but sink towards that left leg. So you're really bending at your hip here. Your back is long to shift to your right leg. Good. You can stay really low with these, or you can give yourself a little lift and lower, whichever feels better. And just take some gentle shifts side to side, really squeezing that belly button in. Your back is automatically working. Invite your belly to the party. And just shift and slide side to side. And then coming all the way over your left leg again, huge cartwheel, big arms, open up that toe, really important. Come up on your back heels and float down. If you've never done a transition like that before, it might feel funny, but now that you kind of know where we're headed, it should feel more natural. So plant your left foot back with your right, coming into your chaturanga, or you can always go straight to down dog. Give your body permission to do what it needs to do. Nice deep breaths here, cleansing breaths. Down dog is the perfect time to come back to your breath. Bring your toes to touch, float your left leg into the sky, really high, super strong. Make sure you're still plugging those shoulders into their sockets. We have a tendency here to start dipping into those shoulders. That won't feel good in the long run, I promise. Draw your knee into your chest for a core plank. Squeeze it underneath you. Inhale back up to the sky. Exhale, bring your knee to your left elbow or shoulder. Inhale it up to the sky. Exhale, draw your knee to your right elbow, and then once there, straighten it. Plant your heel, open up both legs, and come onto this kind of fallen triangle pose here. Has lots of names. Very intense. Float your hand back down to the mat. Squeeze your knee back underneath you, and then plant it at the front. Gathering yourself, and lift up into your crescent lunge. Again, here, if you're feeling any tension or squeeze in the lower back, it's very common. Bend your back leg a little bit. Root that tailbone down and squeeze your belly button up. And if that doesn't give you instant release, message me because it should. But you don't have to have this perfectly straight back leg. Good. Reaching your arms high. And if you'd like to go for that extra little challenge here, really engaging in your glutes, lower your knee towards the mat without touching it. Just give a little hover there for a breath. And then release, open up all the way into your warrior two. Really gaze over those front fingertips. Remember that intention you set at the beginning of class. Are you still thinking about it? Are you marinating on it? Are you letting it guide your movement? Bring it back into focus. Inhale as you lift up into your star pose, toes point towards either corner of your mat. Exhale into your squat again, tracking knees over toes, not even directly, but directionally. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink. As you lift, see if you can keep your rib cage zipped in. The instinct is to kind of bow here, sink into our low back, and open up our rib cage. See if you can keep that tight, rooting through your pelvic floor here. Exhale, sink. So your torso stays very steady. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower and hold. This time we'll lift our left toe first, maybe just a little bit off the mat. Maybe you go quite a bit. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift your other toe off the mat. Holding for one breath cycle. Challenging our thighs. Exhale, lower. Inhale if you'd like to try both. Not if. Inhale either way. But if you'd like to try both, you can do that now. And then lower. And then lift all the way up. Cartwheel towards your right leg. Right leg, right leg, back of your mat. Your brain is going to say, what are you doing? It's called creative yoga. It doesn't always have to look the same. Plant that back foot. The front, plant your right foot to the back of your mat for plank and take your chaturanga. Exhale meets in downward facing dog. Bring your toes to touch. Float that left leg up again. And if you want your block this time, go ahead and grab it. Swing your leg through. Reaching your arms towards the front of your mat. Bend into your left leg and lift your right leg high. Trying to keep your hips square here for just a second. Feel that sensation. If you'd like to open up into half moon, plant your left hand, open your right hip, right shoulder, right arm. If you want to go for the balance, you'll just peel that left hand off, bring it to your heart center. Gaze at the mat below you. That will help. You can bend into that supporting leg. That will also help. Bring that hand back to the mat, square off your hips. Now start bending in your supporting leg. Reach your right leg long and see if you can open up, floating into your warrior two. Gazing over that front palm, holding here. We forgot our prasarita on that side, so let's do it now. Coming into your star pose, lift up high. Turn your toes in, heels out, and hinge forward. Enjoying your Prasarita stretch. And then we'll go into our lunge. No worries. Again, you have many options here. If headstand's part of your practice and you want to float into that now, you just definitely can. Maybe this time you want to take twists. I'll talk you through that. So coming into a half lift, straightening your spine, squeeze your belly button in, plant your right hand to the ground, left hand comes to your hip, open up your shoulders and chest. You can keep a firm grip on that hip to make sure it's not lifting, or if you feel good, reach your arm to the sky. Exhale, plant your hand down. Inhale, you can lift your left hand to the hip, opening up your shoulders and your heart. Again, using that pressure to keep that hip down. It's going to want to shift and open, but you want to focus on the torso here. So then if you like, you can lift your left hand up. It might feel constrained and restricted. If it's too much, just bring it back to your hip. That can feel great. Exhale your hands down. Now, since we're already here, you can have some fun with this. You can start your side-to-side lunges and you can keep your hands on the ground. That will be more strength or more stretch oriented. You'll feel a nice deep stretch in your hamstrings, or if you want to go with strength like last time, bring your chest up, hands to prayer, and keep going with your shifts side to side. Really pressing into your glutes here, into your feet. Feeling like you're moving through cold syrup, thing I heard today. Sludgy. It's not quick or abrupt or feathery or light. It's thick and gooey and strong and intentional. Now cartwheel your hands all the way up and over your right foot. Open up those right toes. Bring that foot back to your plank. Take your chaturanga if you'd like. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now we're going to let's take a gentle child's pose for a few breaths. Coming to your knees, toes to touch. Sink your hips back. Let your chest fall down towards the mat. If you'd like to grab a sip of water, you certainly may. We're going to try for one fun arm balance here. It definitely requires a certain level of flexibility to get into, so it's not one I teach a ton, but by doing those core planks, you've already gotten yourself halfway there, believe it or not. So we're going to attempt to move into that. If that's not your jam, or you have another forearm balance or something that you'd like to practice or do, if you want to do your handstands or headstands, take this moment to do it. Otherwise, I'll talk you through this next arm balance so you can just give it a try. It has a lot of funky different names, so I just kind of don't give it one. It has a Sanskrit name as well, which I don't really use. So if you're ready, float up and back to your downward facing dog. I don't like it because it's named similar to another pose that it's actually nothing like. So I just prefer to get you into it slowly and then say, ta-da, you're in an arm balance. Even if you don't know the name of it, it's okay. Bring your toes to touch and float your right leg into the sky. We're going to take a core plank, and this gets intense, so we'll kind of move through it a little quickly. Bring your knee to your right elbow, just like we did before, but start bending your elbows. As you bend your elbows, you're creating a shelf with your right tricep that your right thigh is going to kind of rest on. Let me stop and show you for a second. Your left elbow is going to come into your hip. So right elbow into your right thigh, left elbow into your left hip. And then as you hinge forward, maybe you extend your right leg and lift your left leg off the mat. Woo, that gets intense fast. So give it a try, wiggle and fall. I'll explain it one more time if you want to try again. So you sink forward, draw that knee into your right elbow, bend your elbows, create a shelf for your body, extend your right leg, lift your left leg, woo, and come back to down dog once you've given it a go. If you're really loving that and you want to play, you can always pause me and play and then come back to class when you're done playing. It's intense. Requires a lot of upper body strength, which if you're a man practicing this, you might have a much easier time with upper body strength and a harder time with the hip flexibility required. For women, it's easier to get our leg there, but harder to hold ourselves up. So kind of one of the beautiful idiosyncrasies of anatomy there. All right, let's try the left leg. You can float that left leg or just get it ready. Bring it into your left tricep. As you lower down onto your right, lower down onto both elbows, your left tricep comes to your left knee, your left elbow, and then you just float and hover both legs up. I love that one, but it definitely takes it out of you. If you want to try it one more time, take that left leg, float it forward. Your left knee is trying to meet with your left tricep, kind of like crow, but it's a little more open. So as you bring it forward, lower both elbows, create that shelf. Float both legs if you can. If your right face, your cheek comes to the mat, that's okay. And then come to your knees and lower all the way down on your belly. Whew, that was hard. You can make a pillow for your forehead, or you can relax it down to one side. Take a few breaths. We'll take a little shoulder stretch here since that was a lot on our shoulders, reaching them out to a T. You can keep your right one there, your left one can come in, your left hand. Start to rock up onto the right side of your body to stretch into that arm, that shoulder. This is going to look different with varying degrees for everyone depending on your shoulder flexibility. I have extremely tight shoulders, so I have to be nice and careful here. If this feels okay though, you can lift your left leg up and behind you and kind of open up your hips, coming into a bit of a twist there as well. Coming back onto your belly. You can make your pillow again or bring your head to the other side. Just release for a minute. Bring your left hand out to the side. Palm faces down, right hand by your shoulder. Use that right hand to start pressing up onto your left side body. You can just hang up there, or you can bring your leg behind you, kind of open up, finding your twist there. And then relax back on your belly. Now for some fun here, just swing your legs around so that you're seated on your bottom. Tucking your left leg underneath you, your left knee is facing the front of the mat, your right leg's on top. So we're just coming into our kind of crisscrossed seat here for a twist. Bring your right arm up, comes back behind you. Left arm lifts, and you can either hook your elbow or wrap your arm, coming into a seated twist here, gazing behind you. If that feels good, you can also just come to a forward, like gaze directly in front of you if that feels better. Now for just some fancy footwork here that will be kind of fun. You just have to trust your body. Don't overthink this. Start to bring your hands towards your left, planting them kind of behind you. Press into your right foot and lift up off your bottom, untwisting your legs and plant your feet. You should now be facing the back of your mat in a forward fold. Dangling here. If you want to take gorilla stretch, you can piece fingers to big toes. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale as you draw your chest towards your legs. You can, of course, always bend your knees. You're still going to get a good stretch here, but you're using that leverage on your toes to bend your arms out to the side and pull yourself down towards your thighs. And then slowly release. Now to find the twist on the other side. Again, you can get there however you get there. It's no big deal. Tuck your right leg underneath your left. So you're twisting your hips. Sit your right knee underneath your left. Sit your right hip on the floor, and then we're sitting up. Our right leg is underneath us, our left leg is on top. So if you just got really confused, just do the opposite of what you were just doing. Left hand comes up and back, right elbow hooks on your leg or holds for a twist. And release. This time bring both feet to the floor. You can extend your legs out in front of you. Inhale your arms up to the sky. Exhale, reach up and over, grabbing onto your legs. Release your head and neck forward if you'd like. If you just heard that big boom, that would have been a plane flying over, I believe. Breaking the sound barrier. We get to hear that every so often. It's slightly terrifying. And then inhale as you come up. Scooching your bottom forward, you can release all the way down onto your back. Maybe you squeeze your knees into your chest or take a happy baby. And eventually lower yourself into your Shavasana. We will stay here for 10 breaths together. Of course, if you want a longer Shavasana, which I can always highly, highly recommend, pause the video and take it. And then when you're ready to come out, you can press play again. But if you're just going to stick with me, let's stay here for 10 easy breaths. And while you're doing that, see if you can just relax into the mat. Keep your mind still for another few minutes. When you're ready, come back into your body. Come back to your breath. Reach your arms overhead and take a full body stretch. And then rock and roll your way onto either side in the fetal position. And then push yourself all the way back up to an easy seated position. You can keep your eyes closed. That feels good. Sitting up nice and tall and strong. Took a lot of twists and turns today, just like life. You may have found that was refreshing and exciting and kept you focused. You may have found that it was frustrating and caused a little anxiety and you weren't quite sure about it. And that's okay. Just reflect on that. Notice how you felt. Maybe that's how you feel in life when things get a little weird like they are right now. There's no right or wrong, but it is good for us to understand ourselves and to know how we might approach these situations so we know where to give ourselves grace. Do we need to encourage ourselves to feel more grounded and more secure? Do we need to encourage ourselves to feel more open and content despite our surrounding circumstances? Inhale your arms all the way up to the sky. Big final reach. Gather up everything that you've taken away from this practice and exhale your hands down in front of your heart. Let your eyes gently flutter open. Thank you for practicing with me today. Thank you for committing this time and energy on your mat, for doing this for yourself. It was an honor to lead you. Namaste. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is always such a pleasure for me to be able to lead you like this. And I know it's a video and you're watching me from the comfort of your home, maybe first thing in the morning, maybe right before you go to bed at night, maybe while your kid's napping like mine. But it really is a joy for me to have you here. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, concerns, personal questions about aches, pains, how to align this or do that, let me know. Message me. I would love to hear from you. And if you ever have any requests for class, types of classes you'd like to see, poses you'd like to explore, I would love to hear that as well. So, namaste. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon.